Hey guys, Marshall from Limited Resources, and oh, one second. There you go, Graham. And we're doing a M14 draft again. I do love this format. It has been so much fun, although this particular pack is not a great example of why I love this format. There's not a lot going on. There's a Mind Sparker, which is a pretty solid card, though it's in red, not really my favorite color. In fact, not really close to my favorite color. Probably fourth on my list. Yeah, fourth on my list. Nah, maybe third, fourth, I don't know. But not the best, and coming into double red isn't exactly amazing. I mean, we could definitely go deep here and just slam an Angelic Accord and see what happens. I mean, there's really not much here. The only other cards I consider taking is something like an Act of Treason. I'd probably just rather have the Mind Sparker in that case. All right, well, I'll take the Mind Sparker. And we'll see if the act wheels. If it does, we know that we can be maybe blue-black sacrifice or red-black sacrifice, which is a really sweet deck. There's a Sarah Angel. Red-white, not a great color combination, but Sarah Angel is definitely the best card in this pack. Other cards that catch my eye are obviously the blue ones. I really have a affinity for blue here in this set. It's the best color, and it's very, very deep. You can make a lot of good things happen, even with not the top-tier blue cards. Divination, one of my favorite cards. Cancel quite good as well. And then, of course, Sarah Angel here. My gut just says take Divination, though passing a Sarah Angel is kind of... I mean, you can totally do it. I've done it. But, yeah, I feel like it's still a little bit of a mistake. Like, you don't want to over-adjust too much. I mean, Sarah Angel is still Sarah Angel, though being double red, double white off the bat is a bit much. Oh, well, let's just do it. We'll see where this goes. If it changes directions, then we'll change directions. It's that simple. Just going to take a shock here. Seacoast Drake, yeah, sure. Spore Man. I mean, there's some good cards here, but nothing too exciting. Speaking of not too exciting, there's really not much here either. An Advocate of the Beast, which is a good magic card, but really only goes with other green cards. We don't have any of those yet. Hunt the Weak. It's fine. Hive Stirrings, Dragon Hatchling, no. Congregate, get out of here. Show of Valor is just like a marginal combat trick. I mean, these packs have been pretty weak, and this one's really a good example of how weak these packs are. I mean, I could just take Dragon Hatchling, but I really don't like that card. I don't think that card's even very good. Like, even if you're heavy red, it's just very mediocre. We could wheel it. I'll just take the Advocate here. Maybe green's open. Yeah, there's a Woodborne Behemoth. I think that's the best card in the pack. This one's tempting too, though. Academy Raider and Dragon Egg are both fine. But I really like Woodborne Behemoth, and I'm going to take it. Yeah, here's another Advocate. We'll just kind of keep going down this route. There's really not much else in this pack anyway, so it looks like green might be a little bit open coming from our right-hand side. So we'll keep an eye on that, and then we'll kind of figure out where we want to go from there. We're certainly not really committed here to anything. We haven't passed any good cards. All right, a little adjustment there. Spore Mound, Pitchburn Devils, Disperse are the cards that kind of pop out to me here. I don't really feel like going into blue for a Disperse. I mean, if we saw something like a Divination at this point, I'd consider it, but Disperse probably not. So it's Pitchburn Devils or Spore Mound. I think I'm going to actually stick with Spore Mound. I think Pitchburn Devils is like slightly better, though it's close, and I just don't know if red's going to be here. We haven't really seen that much of it, and it's getting a little concerning. Probably just going to snap up a Corpse Hauler or a Nightwing Shade here. I mean, Ox is whatever. And Trollhide is not the kind of card I want to be playing. Capacia Knight is just miserable. So it's really these two black cards. And I'll take a Corpse Hauler here and kind of see where this goes. Well, Ring Flesh came back. Now, one that didn't come back, though, is the Angelic Accord. So that's kind of interesting, though it was one of the most powerful cards in that pack. Good or bad. Nothing here. And more nothings. And more nothing. A lot of white cards, but that's not really surprising. You get used to that. Here in M14, you see white cards all over the place because nobody wants to be in it. And it's kind of hard to blame them. So probably red, blue, green, something. I mean, our deck's actually just very mediocre right now. hopefully we'll get a little bit more direction here in this next pack. I have to say that these packs were particularly weak. There just wasn't good cards in them, period. I mean, I would have been open to taking good off-color cards all the way down to pick 5, pick 6, pick 7. I would have even considered it, just because we don't really have anything going on here. But they just weren't there. So let's see if this pack's any better. Well then, it certainly is. There's a Shivan Dragon, and there's also an Air Servant. Strangely, Air Servant better in a lot of ways than Shivan Dragon, but I'm going to take the Dragon here. I really feel like blue's being just hammered on here, and we saw just like a disperse was like the only signal-y thing, and that's not even a signal. So I'll just take the original bomb, the OB Shivan Dragon. And let's look to be green-red, which is a color combination I haven't really done much of, but we'll see. All right, this is a pretty easy pick here. I mean, sure, there's a Fiend Slayer Paladin and some other white stuff, but Rumbling Baloth with 2 Advocates is already really sweet, so we'll just slam that. I also just like Rumbling Baloth a lot. Cards we're looking for now, if this is the plan that we end up being on, which it looks like it is, Chandra's Outrage, very high on our list. Volcanic Geyser, pretty high on our list. And basically as many Rumbling Baloths and Deadly Recluses as we can get our hands on. I mean, we want to be able to beat down and not lose to the blue deck. And those 2 cards do a really good job of providing both functionalities. Okay, what have we? Elvish Mystic, another Woodborne Behemoth. There's a Pitchburn Devils as well, which I do like Pitchburn Devils, but I like Behemoth better. So do we want an Elvish Mystic? I don't value it as highly as some people do. I just find that it's hard to get good value out of these. Like, they're very good on turn 1, and they can help you really get ahead. But if you play them later than turn 1, they get progressively worse all the way down to just outright bad. And there's not a great way to get value out of them later. I like anything like a Sacrifice Outlet or some big enchantment or aura or something that can make these things better. And this really isn't here. So I'm going to take the Woodborne Behemoth here over the Pitchburn Devils. All right, there's a Seraph of the Sword. That could be a big problem for us, but we can't really take it. Blur Sliver, Demolish, no good. Advocate of the Beast, Giant Spider. Yeah, they're both fine. I'll just take another Advocate here. And our colors are gone. I mean, I could take a Thunder Strike, which is decent. Master Diversion, probably the best card in this pack. I could also take Barrage of Expendables. Unfortunately, my my creatures don't currently look very expendable. But I guess I'll take it. It's probably a little bit better than Thunder Strike, and I might pick up some ways to abuse it. All right, well, here's the best card in this pack, but I'm going to take Academy Raider, which is a fine card for our deck. None of these really do anything, so I'll just nab the Naturalize here. Probably not going to main deck it, but it's possible. I like Ranger's Guile. Protect our fatties. Thunder Strike or a Flesh Pulper Giant. Probably just going to take the Thunder Strike. It can get our Advocate of the Beast through a bunch of things that they'd have a hard time with. None of these are good. White is definitely open, but as you can see, it's just, even though there's plenty of white cards left in the pack, just none of them are very impressive. And we do have a Sarah Angel here, which is nice, and we just picked up a Celestial Flare, which is decent, but I don't think it's better than our red cards. Shivan Dragon, Mindsparker Shock, and I really like Academy Raider too. I think I'm just going to gack this Tenacious Dead. I think the wall isn't as big of a deal. We can make stuff bigger and kind of power through that, but Tenacious Dead does kind of stand in the way of our beaters, although going late game, less so. I guess Barrage of Expendables plus Spore Mound could combo off too. Barrage plus Shock plus something. We could pick up a Molten Birth at some point and kind of make a thing happen. So yeah, Barrage is probably pretty decent pickup there for us, actually. And we'll take a Blur Sliver. Might even play it, might not. It's not a particularly impressive creature, but you could do a lot worse. Sure. All right, deck is still pretty mediocre here. We could certainly use some removal spells, and we could certainly use some more beef. Anything that says beast on it we would take, though unfortunately there's only like 3 or 4 of those. But they're all in our colors, so if we can pick up Marauding Maulhorns, Rumbling Baloths, Clonian Tuskers, or maybe even if we get lucky at Garrick's Horde, then we can start comboing off with our beasts here. All right, well, there's a Chandra's Phoenix, which is a nice creature that we would certainly play, but I'm going to slam this Outrage here. We need this removal pretty badly. If we're lucky, maybe we get back Active Treason. I'd like that with the Barrage. But we just need the big time removal, and Chandra's Outrage is basically the best one in red. Okay, well, we have a lot of advocating for beasts and very few beasts to go with them, but I do believe that's the pick here. Otherwise, we're taking a second Academy Raider, and I think I'd rather just be able to beat down. So, come on, beasts, anything. We've got 1. Again, there's a strange thing in this set because there's Advocate of the Beast running around at common, but there's very, very few beasts, and one of them's a rare. All right, well, we found one, so got lucky there. That was actually just a big pickup for us. Very strong. We don't want this rare Guardian. Too clunky, too many choices, and too slow. We could pick up our 5th Advocate of the Beast or something like a Goblin Shortcutter to kind of muck up the works here. Also, just a Dragon Egg can be fine. I'm going to take the Shortcutter here, though. I mean, if we had more beasts, if we had like 1 to 2 more beasts, I would just take the 5th Advocate and just try to combo off, because this is a very, very powerful combo. It doesn't ask much of you. You play a reasonable creature, and then you play a very good creature, and it becomes an absolutely insane creature, and it happens right away. I mean, it's on end step, so Advocate into Rumbling Baloth is like, here's a 5/5, go, and that's really impressive, and these do stack. So if we have 3 of these, this guy's getting 3 counters, and we can move them around if we had multiples. All right, there's a Firecat and a Sliver. I mean, Firecat's a better creature, generally speaking. It's probably just better. Sure. I mean, if you get a bunch of Predatory Slivers, they get pretty nice, but we just need the size. All right, Active Treason or Windstorm. I'm going to take Windstorm here. I mean, I'd love to have an Act. It does go with Barrage, but it doesn't do much else for us. Trollhide would be fine in the deck with all these Advocates. Getting them to be 4/5s with Regeneration is pretty good, but I feel like we're pretty light on removal as it sits, and Windstorm is the kind of thing that can just change all that. All right, I like Enlarge here. Yeah, if we had that other Sliver, it would be a pretty tough choice between a second Sliver here, but we've already got 15 creatures, and Enlarge can be just such a huge blowout. I actually like it quite a bit. All right, there's a Molten Birth. I like that better than Canyon Minotaur. It really shores up the ground game, and you can just go off. Plus, like I mentioned before, we have a mini combo with Barrage of Expendables here. None of these really do much. No, we're just not really worried about any of these cards, so we could take the Wild Guess. We do have some kind of expensive stuff. Yeah, but see, I'm probably just going to run these Academy Raiders and like not this Blur Sliver, and then just kind of hope to make sure that, and hope that gets the job done. I mean, our deck really is big. Not huge fan of Wild Guess with 2 Woodborne Behemoths. Also, the Academy Raiders get a little bit worse, but whatever. It's not that they're worse. I shouldn't say that, but they're not. Perhaps they're not optimized, because you just want every card you can get. Even though you're not down a card, you just want all the lands and all the spells you can get anyway, so they're just not as potent as they maybe normally would be. Still, I'm going to run them because they're pretty good, and we don't have that much removal. We really do need to kind of dig down to find it here. We only need to make 1 cut from this list. It could be Windstorm. I could also go like 1 Blur Sliver, 1 Academy Raider, something along those lines. We're not really splashing here, so that's not going to happen. Maybe I'll cut the Windstorm. I mean, I think there's like at least 3 players in blue in this draft. I could also just cut Wild Guess. Yeah, I'll just cut Wild Guess. I've already got Academy Raiders to sift away the stuff that I don't want, so I think we'll be fine with that. Well, this deck is very pro-beast. We know that. All right, let's see what we've got here. This thing says 9-8. How does that look for us? Let's do our little thing. Let's take a minute here and do what we want to do. All right, so you guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the spells to when I actually expect to want or reasonably expect to cast them. So Ranger's Guile's probably like a turn 5-er, like maybe protect one of our 4s here. Shock's probably a turn 3. Barrage can be whenever. It certainly isn't an early play. This is probably going to be probably 5 as well. This guy's probably more like turn 4, turn 5. Raiders 3. These are all 3. This is 3. These are all 3. Okay. That means that this is probably more like here. Outrage is probably turn 6. These are 4 right on time. Enlarge on 5 is great. Spore Mound, Behemoths, all these are fine. Dragon on 6. Windstorm on whenever. I'm not even going to... I don't even know. So I'm just going to do it like this because this one's just sort of a question mark. Well, as you can see, things look pretty evened out. Our deck doesn't really get going until turn 3. We have things to do on turn 2 occasionally, but for the most part, we're a turn 3 deck. Very heavy green. I think we should probably just... Yeah, these on turn 3 are a little bit better, but I think we can take a hit there and just go green. Because once we hit turn 4 and turn 5, I mean, our green is insane, and we really, really do need to be able to cast those spells. So I'm going to go 9-8 for green here. And that's what Moto suggests, so add it. I like figuring it out myself, though. Magic Online's gotten a little better, I think, about the suggestions. I don't know if that's just me thinking that or if it's actually true, but even then, I'm doing it myself. Like, I'm never trusting it to do it, and you throw in some other variables like hybrid mana or something, and the thing just goes nuts. So, all right, we'll see you guys in the first round.